What's up, all you up and coming villains out there? I'm Duuz-Diz-Din, finally back with another chapter review of My Hero Academia. This time it's chapter 223, titled Cockroach. We cut to mid December. I think we're finally back in present. I know it was, we had all the heroes donning their winter attire, so I have to assume we're back in present day, where we see that Tomura Shigaraki has continued his quest in order to try and get Gigantamachi to submit to his will, using more and more clever tactics, using stuff like Twice's mud clones or whatever in order to trick Gigantamachi for them to try to just surround him as best they can, but he starts sending out these shockwaves, just decimating them for the most part. And we also get to continue to get some narration by Spinner, who goes on to state what's happened over the past month and a half since Tomura Shigaraki made that declaration that he would bring Gigantamachi to submit. It talks about the fact that Gigantamachi is not always big and bulky. He takes time to rest and he decreases in size during that point. But, during this entire time, Gigantamachi has not in any way acknowledged Tomura Shigaraki as anything but weak. Gigantamachi will continue to attack for a total of 48 hours and 44 minutes. Why you had that exact amount of time is beyond me, but damn. And he will just keep going at it, and he will rest for all of 3 hours, which says something about his endurance. Like, just 3 hours of rest? That's insane. And then his body will grow large during battle, and it's just like, how does that work? What has exactly been put into Gigantamachi in order to allow him to do these? But ultimately, it just goes back to the fact that All for One put so much into Gigantamachi, his perfect creation. And apparently, Gigantamachi has the ability to just suss out specifically Tomura Shigaraki, wherever Tomura may be, always finding him no matter what. So that means that he was going to hunt down Tomura Shigaraki until Tomura is able to make Gigantamachi submit, or Gigantamachi finally puts Tomura in the ground. He apparently Gigantamachi just says his ears are really sharp, but to be able to hear one person in all of this, that's some daredevil level bullshit right there. But it also Spinner also goes on to state that Tomura Shigaraki is getting kind of desperate to a certain degree. He's had very little sleep. His life is constantly hanging in the balance. He's almost been crushed many a times by Gigantamachi, but apparently throughout all of this, Tomura Shigaraki has just continued to keep this, smile on his face. Very much like a protagonist for the most part. Despite the odds, despite the situation, he's continued to just smile through it and enjoy the situation that he's in. And so everyone who isn't, basically the target of Gigantamachia's tests for the most part is kind of just given the leeway to go off, rest, and then come back to battle as things go along. And, we also see that Himiki Toga has, got herself some nice little winter wear for the most part, and all this good stuff. And she just goes on to say, it's just like, gotta warm yourself up, cold weather kind of dulls your movement. So it's obvious she has some insight into situations like this. And then Spinner kind of takes a moment to just ask, it's just like, you joined the League of Villains because you like Stain, but there isn't even a small bit of what Stain originally was in the current League of Villains right now. So why do you persist? And, she gives her usual reply. It's just like, yes, she loves Stain, but she also loves Izuku and Ochako. She's taken a liking to them, and sticking with the League of Villains increases her chances of one day, as in her words, becoming all the things that she loves. I don't completely understand her point of view from that, but, at least there's something. But, Spinner gets ready to start throwing down with Gigantomachia once again. But, actually, things kind of calm down for the most part. Gigantomachia finally falls asleep, and the League is able to take a little bit of a reprieve for the most part. And we even have a moment where Tomura says it's just like, yeah, he's starting to get slow. We're starting to kind of wear him down. We're getting closer. And he's just like, but Spinner starts to think that that's more of Tomura's growth, if nothing else. Tomura's starting to have the look of someone who's chasing their dreams. He has a goal now. He's inspired for the most part to just see things through. We then have Twice receive a phone call from Girin, and Mr. Compress takes offense to this as to the fact that he's been trying to get in contact with Girin about maybe getting a new prosthetic hand. However, the voice on the other line is the voice of the Danarat company, President Yotsubashi. And he's, basically calling out everyone. It's just like he knows for the most part who they are and their whole situation. And as soon as, they start questioning who exactly he is, he tells them to turn on the news, where they hear of what we saw previously, that, apparently all across various locations, fingers have been found. And it's implied, it's basically outright said later on that these are the fingers of Girin, all from one hand, if nothing else. In various locations where the League of Villains have appeared over time. All places that they've hung out or just showed up or what have you, with articles of Girin's clothing, like his glasses, his jackets, and so on and so forth, kind of making a statement for the League of Villains to one day appear, to kind of call out the League of Villains, kind of get a bit of a calling card going, more or less, which is actually pretty brutal, just cutting off fingers and stuff like that. But he calls himself the leader of the Superpower Liberation Army, Redestro, kind of, taking a revamped version of the original leader, Destro. However, Tomura Shigaragi's just like, man, the Yakuza first, now the Liberation Army? This is some retro bullshit right here. It's just like all the old farts coming out the woodworks and all that. But he notes the fact that their books have been selling fairly well in recent years. The Super Liberation War book that's been sold out by the company's Shueisha, not to be confused by the actual Shueisha book company. But, Twice is more concerned about Girin because he has this close connection with Girin, because Girin is always checking in on everybody. They have this very nice relationship with Girin, all things considered. But, Redestro goes on to say that, Girin is still alive. He ultimately wants to rebuild the Superpower Liberation Army to create a world where superpowered beings are free to do whatever they please, whenever they please, with whatever power they have at their disposal. So, a lot of the League of Villains members start to wonder if there's going to be a repeat of the situation with Overhaul, if they're going to try to join up, defeat him from the inside, stuff like that. But Tomura Shigaragi's just like completely disinterested, just like, look, dude, let our broker go. We'll deal with you later. I'm kind of in the middle of something. But Redestro's not having any of that. It's just like, yeah, I'm not releasing him. I don't know what kind of shit you're on, but no, I'm not doing that. You know, oh, you all have this strong bond that I've heard of. And, this determination that Giran has showed is actually pretty inspiring. He's a real professional. He survived all the torture, all the stuff going down. He's managed to avoid being exposed and put out by various, villains and heroes of the like. And even when it came to us torturing him and doing everything we could to him, he simply already had his client list erased, and he didn't make a sound no matter what we tried to do to him. But then the president of the director and board member of Feel Good Inc., freaking Gorilla's reference there, that's awesome. The director and board member of Feel Good Inc. IT company, a major IT company at that, which he kind of reminds me of Murdoch for a little bit, the way he's posed. But he manages to decrypt and restore all of the data that Giran had erased, bringing back all the information on the various people that Giran has been in the employ of or worked with and stuff like that. So, that's how basically Redestro managed to get the phone number for Twice's cell. And we get basically a lineup of the various people who are in the the remade Superpower Liberation Army. The IT company dude, the guy from the Heartseeker political party. So, this group has their hands in the political world as well. So not just technology, but that as well. And we also see one of the members is the director of Suecia, which is a book-selling company and all that, who have been putting out the Superpower Liberation War book, basically kind of spreading their word to the masses, getting people more and more on their side, trying to, peek in here and there just to see who they can sway to their movement. And ultimately, Redestro says that they have over 100,000 soldiers lying in wait to possibly just rise up and retake the world, for the superpowered being. So he's very much got like this Magneto mentality going around, where it's just like, we should be free to do as we please. We should not be bound by the rules and laws of a human society. It's superpowers, it's quirks that make the rules, that rule the world. Might makes right, and that's all it's going on. And Spinner's just like baffled. It's just like, this dude must be bluffing. But then, Redestro is just like, oh, so you guys are in the mountains, okay. So he's been tracing their location this entire time. Even when Twice tries to throw and destroy his phone, it's just like, nope, we already have all the information of your location. And at any point, we can leak it to all the major heroes out there, just pinpointing your location. And Tomura Shigaraki is just completely cool throughout this entire situation. And he just simply asks, what do you want exactly? And Redestro basically makes it clear. Look, the only person leading any form of revolution in the world today, any kind of reform to the world at large, the only person like that should be named Destro. And as a descendant of Destro, he basically wants to kick the League of Villains out of the way, use them as a platform in order to rise through the ranks of the world. Because, the League of Villains did something very phenomenal when they started to kind of turn people's attention to more critical thoughts and just, putting down a lot of the major hero organizations, really questioning that. And not to mention the fall of the symbol of peace. The League of Villains have made waves that have even caught the eye of the Superpower Liberation Army, who have decided, look, you've come too big for your britches, and we will use you as a platform to rise above you and become the new leader in the world of change in terms of the superhero community, the superpowered community. And we see that the various fingers that were cut off of Girin form their kind of their symbol for their kind of thing. It's just funny because they put that L to their head, and it just gives off like the feeling of just like, so you're a bunch of losers. Like it's just weird. It's a weird iconography, but it's all in this. They show off the fingers are all in the position of the Superpower Liberation Army's sign, their kind of finger sign. And ultimately he wants Tomura Shigaraki to come to him to basically have this fight on the stage of the world where they can ultimately kind of show up the League of Villains and kind of take their position in the world. So he ultimately gives Tomura Shigaraki an ultimatum: get captured by the heroes and be wiped off the map, or fight us and perish. So that's a declaration of war, and Tomura Shigaraki doesn't miss a beat, just smiling right through it. He's ready for a throwdown, ready to show his skills, his abilities, what he's made of. And I really hope we see some very interesting things from this. Just give us a reason to really just root for Tomura Shigaraki. Once you get the audience rooting for the villain in earnest, then you've got them. Then you've created a very credible and interesting villain for the most part. And I'm really hoping to see this, because if we're going to take a whole story arc away from Deku, you got to make it worth our while. Really give the populace what they want to see, and that's them crushing these old farts. This is all about the new generation. This is Tomura Shigaraki's stage to truly show what he's worth. So who will be the victor in the end, Tomura Shigaraki or Redestro? But I really just gotta mention that freaking Gorilla's reference. Horikoshi is always just bringing in all these wild references and stuff like this from various places. I didn't think it's interesting to see that it's not just Star Wars references, but musical references as well. And not to mention showing Tomura Shigaraki as a kind of shonen archetype is also very fascinating as well. But hey, tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. Are you enjoying this segue into a Tomura Shigaraki centric art, or are you down on the fact that you're not seeing the usual main cast of characters? And what are you hoping to see from this story arc? Do you hope that the Tenerat will ultimately win, that the Super Liberation Army will ultimately rise to the occasion and become real players in terms of the regular plotline? Or are you hoping that this will actually give the League of Villains a more credible platform to stand on and gain them more allies in the long run to really show what they've got going on? And with this, will we also end up seeing the Doctor give support to Tomura Shigaraki after this, unleashing a wave of his overhauled no moves? So just again, tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you like this video, feel free to leave it a like. If you didn't, feel free to leave it a dislike, and subscribe for more chapter reviews of My Hero Academia. And follow me on any social media platforms by just Googling my name. You'll find me anywhere. But until then, you have a wonderful and villainous day.